Being a man in today's world is not an easy thing to do, especially if you have any degree of sensitivity to life. It seems wherever you look, there's one of two messages being propagated. Either that the only way to succeed in life and to move forwards is to conquer, dominate, to own, and be a warrior. And the other message that seems to be out there is that being a man is almost seen as a reason to be ashamed. Like there's something wrong with embodying your masculinity. And what even does that mean? And I've been reflecting on this myself over the last 9 or so months that I've been making these videos. And I've come to the realization that it's not actually either of those things. And there's a time and a place to be a warrior. There's a time and a place to take ownership and to take the lead. But there's also a time and a place to surrender, to open your heart, and to recognize that life is not this thing that we have to conquer and dominate. Life is perfectly laid out before us. It's just that so much of the time we're fixated on what we think things should be like, that we fail to see what is. And I've come to the realization also that for much of my life, I have lived with a degree of sensitivity. I feel things very deeply and I'm not ashamed of that. But it's not something I've openly acknowledged or shared specifically on one of my videos before. And for me, that represents something really important because it seems to me that there's an increasing number of men out there people who feel like, there's something wrong with being a man. There's something wrong with me being open-hearted and feeling this way, and all of the people around me tell me that I should man up or that I should be strong without really telling me what that means. Or people who are pretending to be role models because they're flaunting the outward signs of success, but with no real depth to back it up. And we hear enough in the news about suicide being the leading cause of death for men, especially younger men. And having been, for most of my life, someone who has felt alone and isolated, and who has only had themselves to turn to for the most part, and like many men, also not wanting to go to therapy, not wanting to feel in some way broken or defective, having to find a different way, I feel like there is a need for a different voice. I feel like there is a need for those of us that have found a way to make it through in this life, to actually enjoy and find love and live with an open heart, and also cultivate some degree of what I suppose would be called a warrior spirit. Well, I feel compelled to share that with you. Not because I think I have all the answers, but because I want you as a viewer to know that you aren't alone. This isn't something that you have to do in isolation, and of course you're free to choose that. But there are people out there like myself who are actively going through this process, who have got to a point where we don't feel ashamed anymore. I'm not ashamed of who I am. I don't care what people think about me. I'm not here to prove to anybody how good or valuable I am, nor am I here to convince you that I have all of the answers or that you should follow me because I'm so much better than you, because that's not true either. Simply just that if you're looking for a way forwards rather than a way out, or perhaps you are looking for a way out and you're open to finding a way forwards instead, then maybe some of what's to come is valuable to you. Life moves at such a rapid pace, especially nowadays with technology and all of the things which technology brings. And we're so maladjusted to that. And we wonder why the path forward is unclear. We wonder why increasing amounts of men are choosing to stay at home rather than go out and be in relationships, or choosing to resort to distractions like drugs and alcohol and even video games and food. Again, I'm no stranger to these things. But also, conversely, there are plenty of men out there who want to throw themselves 100% into going to the gym or trying to better themselves, moving forwards at this rapid pace and never really taking a moment to slow down and take stock of what's here. You know, when we eat, we need time for that food to be digested before we're hungry again. When we live, we don't give ourselves the chance enough to slow down and find that actually, if we reflect and take stock on what's going on right now, maybe things aren't so bad. Maybe we can find reasons to be positive. We can find reasons to be kinder to ourselves or to accept ourselves. Maybe we can create enough space in our lives for people to appear who can support us moving forwards rather than try and convert us to their way of thinking or their agenda. I have nothing to gain by you spending time watching my videos. I'm not doing this for the money. I'm not doing this for the likes or the views. I'm doing this because personally, if I'd have found the man I have become now when I was in my early 20s, my life would have been considerably different. And I lost my dad earlier this year. If you go back through my videos, you'll see that I did continue recording throughout that process. And there's a lot I shared, and there's also a lot I didn't share. And there's a lot that I continue to process and work through. And I love my dad. I miss him. But he was a terrible role model. And I don't say that disrespectfully. I say that because the things that he taught me as I was growing up, things like don't love women because they'll just take advantage of you. You have to work hard, otherwise you won't succeed. And that work is serious and money is hard to come by. And I've learned that that's not true. It's true to the degree that I believe it's true, and I'm sure some of you out there believe it's true in that way also, and that's your experience. And that's not to say it's wrong. It's just a perspective that no longer serves me. And if you have those kinds of perspectives too, then life is hard, right? I get that. And no doubt many of the people surrounding you don't want to have these kinds of conversations because talking about your feelings as a man is still considered to be a sign of weakness, which is ridiculous because each and every one of us who is born into a human body, regardless of the gender that we are, or the gender we choose to be, in fact, all of us have emotions. All of us have an emotional experience of life. And the degree to which we acknowledge and lean into that is the degree to which it becomes a strength rather than a weakness. And so this channel going forwards will be my way of sharing some of the stories and the lessons I've learned over the 39 years I've been on this earth, in an attempt to maybe help you see that there are alternative perspectives to the ones that you hold. And that if you're aware of their existence, maybe there's a perspective out there that works for you, rather than one that causes you pain. Maybe there's a perspective out there that means you can move forwards, rather than questioning the worth of your life. Maybe there's a perspective out there that means that you can find a relationship where you spend time around a person or groups of people who love and appreciate you, who listen to you, who value your time and the things that you have to say, but also are committed to your growth as much as you are. And I can tell you that those things exist because they exist for me. They haven't long existed for me, but they do. If they can exist for me, they can exist for you. And I'll do my best to share the things I don't really want to share, because there's so much out there that we hesitate to say. so much out there that we hold back on because we're afraid of people's judgment. And yes, I largely don't care about what people think of me these days. But that doesn't mean that there aren't things that I'm not accustomed to saying, especially on a public forum such as this. So if there's value in that for you, and you think that there might be something that you can discover about yourself along the way, then join me. Like I said, I'm not doing this because I want your money. I'm doing this because if there's anything I want or don't want, it's to see more men feeling lost and isolated and lonely, resorting to their second choice, pursuing the things that they feel they should be pursuing rather than the things that they actually want to be pursuing. And no doubt some of you out there live that kind of life, settling in relationships when you know that you're capable of more, settling in jobs when you have a passion or a love or a joy that you're hesitant to express with other people because they've told you it's stupid or that it's not going to work out. And that's BS, because there's so much technology out there now, there's so much information available to us that makes it so much more accessible for us to move forwards with the things that we want. The only thing that holds us back is that often we listen to this and we keep this closed. And if we start opening this, it starts to speak into here and a different voice emerges. I'm speaking from experience and will continue to do so. So whatever has come before, whatever reason you may be watching this video, or whatever reason you may have been watching my videos in the past, this is the direction of travel. This is important to me as a man who aspires to live increasingly with an open heart. Not to be walked over, but to be able to experience the depth and the joy of life unashamedly. And if you want that too, then you're in the right place. I hope you stick around.